All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, Bungie is making some crazy, amazing sandbox changes to Destiny 2. A lot of weapons, a lot of perks are being changed. Along with that, we get an announcement for the raid, the Vault of Glass. Let's jump right in. Okay, emblem is now available. Okay, if you've done the final seasonal challenge week here, so make sure you get that emblem if you want it. Next up is the raid. Okay, it's going live on May 22nd at 10 a.m. So the new season starts May 11th. So they're giving you 11 days, which is quite a lot of time. But at the same time, you actually don't need to be that high level in order to do it. You only need to be like, I believe it was 1300. And so like right now, you know, once you lose your artifact power, everyone will be like 1310 or wherever you're at right now. Let me know in the comment section below what's your current power level. But I believe you need to be like 1300. So pretty much everyone is already raid ready now for the new, or I guess reprised version of Vault of Glass. And it looks really exciting. They're actually going to be doing the world's first, and they're doing a raid belt. Look at this thing. This thing looks amazing. They're actually purposefully doing it, I believe, in a silver color, they said, because they don't want to be disrespectful to the first team that actually beat it, and they actually put their name on the belt. You can see right there, 2014 Prime Guard actually got the original Vault of Glass world's first, so they don't want to be disrespectful to that team. They're going to use their name on the belt even still, and then they're going to put the new clan name here. And so essentially you get a raid belt if you can beat this first. And they're doing it in a weird way where they actually have like a challenge mode that goes up with it. So you have to like beat it, and then I believe you have to beat it with the challenge mode. I'm not sure if you have to beat it twice. It's a bit confusing, but it would seem like you have to beat it with tempos, edge, triumph, and essentially I believe if you die during that, if your entire fire team dies, you get thrown to orbit. There's a bunch of crazy details. I'm gonna have to actually look into this a little bit more after all of this, but it's definitely a bit crazy with the triumph. A few people have said and not commented before that there shouldn't be a raid belt for beating a raid that's already been beaten. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of a weird thing to give a raid belt for a raid that's already been, like, we've already discovered this raid. You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comment section below if you agree with that. I feel like instead of doing a raid belt, like, at least they're doing it nice. They're making it silver. They should just give like a raid ring or something. You know what I'm saying? Leave the belts for like the original new raids and do something completely different for these ones. But I feel like making it silver is probably pretty fair enough. So enough with that. Along with that, they actually mentioned that Venus is back. I forgot to throw that in there. You could explore Venus, which before, back in the day, when you were starting the Vault of Glass raid, you were in a public space, like basically like patrolling Venus, and blueberries could come along and help you open the gate to the Vault of Glass. It was kind of funny. They wouldn't always do it, but every now and again they could. And it was a really funny experience and cool, but you're going to be in that same area right now. You're not gonna be able to go back into Venus, but this does kind of show that Venus is here. I'm not sure how we're gonna be accessing that area, or is the planet Venus just showing up or something? Like, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. They haven't addressed it in entirety, but in its entirety. But it looks like Venus is back in some form. Obviously, it had to be for the Vault of Glass to be back. We'll see how Bungie makes sense of all this, how this works into the story. But I'm definitely excited for that. Now, next up, we have the big sandbox changes. I mean, I'm gonna cover a lot of these, but there's a ton. And this is going to change everything, okay? I've been talking to you about God-rolled weapons for years and years in Destiny, and this changes everything. This throws a wrench in everything. All the new God-rolled weapons are changed now. You're going to find certain weapons that were trash before are God tier now, and so on and so forth. And we don't even know. We don't even know. We'll have to take them into the game once these changes go through to really fully understand what is a new God roll of a weapon now. It's actually really exciting stuff. I love when stuff like this happens. So they go over an explanation of how they do things, how weapons work. Certain weapons are for ad clear, certain weapons are for boss damage, burst damage, swords, machine guns, linear fusion rifles, so on and so forth. They give you essentially their philosophy of how they do things, and that's really nice. I think that Bungie giving their balanced philosophy is smart, so that way we understand. They have a term they called big swings, like for example when they buffed 120 RPM hand cannons with Beyond Light. That was a big swing. It went from 110s being trash and almost never used to just boom, 120s are now in the sandbox. They're insane. Everyone's using them. They're the most powerful weapon. That's crazy. And then they also have incremental changes where they take stuff and they slowly nerf it and adjust it. Like, for example, the shotgun changes that are coming soon. It's going to be a very incremental change. It's not meant to be a big swing, like big sandbox breaking change. So they talk about with every release they try to do both of those, a mix of those, which was kind of nice to see. I like to peep, you know, behind the curtains of what Bungie's after when they do these sandbox changes. Weapon archetypes. Precision damage is getting boosted for the 450 RPMs. So yes, you heard me right. 450 RPMs have not been used for a long time. Uriel's Gift, you remember that? Does that ring a bell? That's a 450 RPM. That thing could be nasty. I have a roll with like dynamic sway and kill clip. Ooh, get ready. I'm going to be using that bad boy in the Crucible every now and again. And a few other 450 RPMs. Let me know in the comment section below, are there any 450 RPM auto rifles you're excited for? for this buff. They're going to do a precision damage buff. It doesn't look like it's going to be a big swing change, okay? It's going to be a small one. Maybe make them a little more in line with the other weapons, but you never know. Could be pretty good afterwards. They're adding a few rare weapons, so that way you can get a variety of different archetypes of all the different weapons when you're a newer player. Linear fusion rifles. They're doing a buff to these with precision damage and reserve ammo. So right now, linear fusion rifles are trash. They're trash. No one uses them, okay? You don't use them right now, but soon there will be a buff to them, and that's exciting to see. You would love to see some big buffs to weapons that aren't being used very often. Along with that, fusion rifles are getting a buff to range. Some more range on your fusion rifles, so get excited for that, especially on the non-high impact versions of fusion rifles. So if you're using anything other than like maybe I think like the Glacial Chasm is one of the better ones right now. If you're using the other archetypes, you might be excited for that. It doesn't seem like a bunch of gigantic huge changes, but it'll make the fusion rifles a little more viable. Perks now. This is the big one. This is the one I'm excited for because I love focusing on god rolled weapons and god rolled perks. The synergy between perks and the efficiency of a perk, either used in PvE or PvP. Subsistence is getting a huge buff, and it no longer reduces your reserve ammunition. That's insane, okay? That's insane. If it doesn't reduce your reserve ammunition, that means when you get a kill with weapon, you get granted more ammo. That's going to make so many more weapons like god rolls and really good for PvE. This is actually crazy. This is a really, really good buff to subsistence. So save your subsistence rolls of weapons. Oh my god. High impact reserves and under pressure. They changed this. There was some bugs with that. They fixed that. Nothing too crazy with that. Unrelenting. This is actually a really big one with this one. It was harder to trigger in difficult content, and the health awarded was hard to perceive. So now it's easier to trigger in PvE, and it heals 20% more. That's exciting. Exciting to see Unrelenting get a buff. Sympathetic Arsenal is a perk that's been trash for a long time, but now it grants plus 20 reload in addition to its primary effect. Dragonfly has not worked on any ads that don't have a crit, like a Shank, for example, but now it does. Now it does. They actually fixed it to work on Shanks, so that's actually really sick. Sick to see Dragonfly get a small little buff there. We'll see how good it is. Hipfire Grip, they're doing a bunch of crazy changes to Hipfire Grip. They said they don't want to go too overboard with it, but we'll see how efficient and how effective Hipfire Grip is after all these changes, all these little numbers and stuff. You know, you can calculate all of these all you want, but overall, you know, once you get it in the game, that's when you'll see if this is actually really good. So it seems like Hipfire Grip might actually be a much more viable perk after these changes. These unique Iron Banner perks, we got Iron Grip, Iron Gaze, Iron Reach. They have a downside to all of them, and the penalty has been reduced from -40 to -30. So all of these Iron Banner weapons will be a little bit stronger, which is nice. Happy to see that. Osmosis and Elemental Capacitor. These have not worked with Stasis. These are designed around light-based subclasses. Obviously, they were designed before Stasis was in the game. And now they're making them essentially proc and work for Stasis. And that's really exciting to see. I can't wait to see that. So now you essentially would be shooting a Stasis primary weapon, okay? You could be shooting like a Stasis SMG. So I don't really know how that's going to help you a ton right now, but you never know how that's going to be good in the game, in PvE circumstances, etc. So on to the next part. We've got no distractions. They actually reduced the trigger time from 1.5 seconds to 1 second. So this is when you're sniping or, you know, whatever weapon you're using for no distractions. Mostly a sniper perk. But you're aiming down sights and that no distractions proc, you get a lot less flinch, which is nice if you're trying to snipe, you know what I'm saying? So they actually reduced that, and they buffed the amount of flinch reduction to 35%. So you'll get flinched even less, essentially. So that's really cool to see. We'll see no distractions. I actually have a roll of the sniper, the raid sniper rather, that actually has no distractions and snapshot. So that thing is going to be dirty after these changes. Celerity and Bottomless Grief, they already addressed these changes in a different TWAB. You get plus 20 to handling and reload for Celerity now, it just comes regular. You don't even have to be the last living member. And then you get plus 30 to magazine from Bottomless Grief. Again, you don't have to be the last living member. These are just awesome perks that are added to these now. So that's exciting. The changes to Thresh, they already addressed this before. Now works in PvP for all weapons. Mods, they're giving a little bit of a buff to Adept Mag and Adept Targeting. So that's actually exciting to see. I can't wait to see that. When it is applied to a sword now for Adept Mag. Adept Counterbalance. This didn't feel like it was enough, so they increased the recoil direction benefit. Excited to see that. Exotics, the Mida Multi-Tool, the Catalyst is being changed from Outlaw to No Distractions. So right now Mida already has like amazing reload, and this was always like a meme from back in the day. You would get the Mida Catalyst from going 5500 in comp, and then you would get the Catalyst, which gave you Outlaw, but it already had like really fast reload, so it was just stupid. But now it'll actually be No Distractions. So the Mida actually might be kind of nasty, okay? With no distractions on it, be hitting those headshots. Whew, you don't know. Hawk Moon, they increased the priority of Paracausal Charge and Paracausal Shot buff text. So they fixed some little issues with that. And the future. They talked about shotguns. They don't expect the changes to be too dominant, so they're doing a bunch of those changes to quick draw, and they're taking quick draw off of those heavy shotguns like the Astral Horizon and the Felwinter, and they're giving the surplus instead. They don't expect that to be like to just get rid of the shotguns overnight. Like they'll still be around, and that's okay. Like these slow incremental changes is good. I think if we try to do too drastic, too sweeping of changes, it's going to feel jarring to the community. So I'm okay with that right now. And hopefully maybe if shotguns are still too strong, even after this, maybe a little nerf again. Who knows? Dead Man's Tale, they talk about it. There's no nerfs coming to it this season, and it's already in the top 10 for trials. Of course, this thing is going to be like amazing after 120s get a slight nerf, etc. You know what I'm saying? So they talk about it, and they'll be keeping their eyes on it, and we'll see how it performs in the future if they have to nerf it too hard too soon here. And fusion rifles, they talk about that as well. That if the changes aren't that drastic, they may look into it a little bit more. The rest of it is just, of course, patch notes and bugs and stuff like that. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Seriously, I asked you a bunch of questions. Make sure to respond. I love the feedback between myself and those that subscribe to the channel. These are a ton of crazy changes. I mean, these are going to make weapons that you thought were trash in your vault right now maybe actually really good. I mean, I'm super excited for a lot of these changes, especially subsistence. Lately, all the weapons I've been getting have subsistence on it. I don't know what the deal is, but I can't wait for subsistence to get that big perk buff. I'm excited to see how well that works out. Exciting times for Destiny 2, and that is the Bungie news. Make sure to subscribe with notifications on if you want to stay up to date on all things Destiny 2. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Later.